Here comes Old School. This is Old School Queenies Couples Podcast. Oh yeah. And I got a new hot topic for you every week. Yeah. I'm cutting my music down now. I'm coming at you live from my studio. Yeah, my little small apartment studio. And thank you. I want to thank you for tuning in. So as I was speaking earlier, or at another time, that most of my couples relationship type topics is for subscription only. So you have to get an Apple subscription. But sometimes, every now and then here, we got the news that I have to report for free. And I'm going to share my poor people's news to you, to us, for us, and our history for us to learn about what's going on in the world and all around our area and our neighborhood and all like that. So, thank you again for tuning in, and take a listen. Take a listen at the latest. Take a listen at what I captured for you, for us poor people, for us, for all of us to share and learn our history as well. Thank you again. Yeah, this is Old School to your new school.
A record-breaking number of Republicans are quitting Congress. So far, as of Monday of this week, 36 Republicans have announced that they're done. They're not going to seek re-election. Some of them, of course, are leaving early. One of them, we know, thanks to Donald Trump blurting it out last week, is probably going to be dead by June. As Trump said, we're not going to celebrate his demise, obviously, horrible health issues, but Trump seemed excited about it. Nevertheless, the Republican Party has never seen this many people quit in a single election cycle ever. The closest they came was in the year 1930 during the Great Depression. I think there's some pretty good parallels there as well, right? We were a country in the middle of a Great Depression, and Republicans were like, hey, we're done. We're going to leave. Our tariff policy didn't fix the Great Depression like we thought it would. And bing, bang, boom, here we are, the year 2026, and pretty much the exact same thing is happening. By contrast, only 21 Democrats are not seeking re-election. Republicans are abandoning the sinking ship. The rats are jumping overboard, scrambling for those lifeboats, but they're not going to find them. You created this mess. You didn't just hit the iceberg, you steered head first into it. And now you want to leave because everything you did blew up in your faces. And you don't want to have to face the consequences. You don't want to have to go back to your constituents and tell them how much you failed, how horrible you are at legislating. The problem Republicans have is that most of these people, of course, who are resigning are seasoned veterans. A lot
has been said about me today.
U.S. Representative Eric Swalwell posted a video on X on Friday denying accusations of sexual assault by a former congressional staffer.
They are absolutely false. They did not happen. They have never happened.
The California Democrat and a leading candidate for governor of the state vowed to fight the allegations while apologizing to his wife for unspecified, quote, mistakes in judgment in his past. The San Francisco Chronicle reported on Friday that a woman who previously worked in Swalwell's district office accused him of 2 non-consensual sexual encounters, one while she was employed by him in 2019 and another in 2024 after she had left his staff. The report stated that the unidentified woman was quoted saying she had been too intoxicated on both occasions to consent. The former staffer later told CNN that Swalwell had raped her during the later encounter, which Swalwell strongly denied.
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false.
Several leading Democratic politicians urged Swalwell to end his campaign for governor. Democrat House Leader Hakeem Jeffries called for an investigation.
Right now, a lot of folks asking who knew what when. I'm hearing from folks who say, listen, top staffers for party leadership in Congress was aware of some of these allegations, not the most serious ones, but some of these allegations of inappropriate behavior. And keep in mind, he was sort of selected after Alex Padilla and Kamala Harris chose not to run for governor in California. He was the sort of heir apparent. He was the party favorite. He got all the labor endorsements, and now everyone is spinning. There's this fight between really all of the Democrats left in the race as to who's going to get those endorsements, who's going to get the party backing. I think that this will definitely have a ripple effect on the Democratic Party, both in D.C. and certainly here in California.
Yeah, Julie, Adriana, we've done this job for a long time, right? Just as reporters, the fact that all of these high-profile Democrats came out and removed their support, removed their endorsements from Congressman Swalwell. Immediately, just my reporter's spidey sense tells me that either this was some kind of an open secret or that at least people were aware of this stuff happening in his past or in his background, and this was the opportunity. You might as well distance yourself right away, because it doesn't, you know how it is. Democrats and whatever party has a member who's in trouble, they generally close ranks first and then come back.
But when it's about sexual assault, I think that's the exception. A lot of times people really want to distance themselves from that. But I was surprised by how quickly, fast and furiously, people came out against him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should know, guys, that he has denied these charges. I don't know that we have said that so far, but I do want to stress that he has denied these charges. He says he will fight them. He notably suspended his campaign. He did not end his campaign. And I'm told that is important because that might allow him to use some of those campaign funds for a legal defense fund. But he definitely has pulled out. And even really adamant supporters, people who came to me early on and said, this is the guy, are now publicly distancing themselves from him. So to your point,
Kaufman is the journalist thanks to whom we are here today. Because 2 years ago, he's the one who wrote the article.
And this is Peter Magyar, the Prime Minister-elect of Hungary, saying that the EU has its faults, but that Hungary is ready to search for compromise. He said the country's place is in Europe. He wants Europe to have a strong voice, replacing Viktor Orban, his 16 years in power, with a new approach. He said that later on today he's going to be speaking to at least 12 other EU leaders, saying that what you have witnessed in Hungary is history in the making in real time. Do stay with us here on BBC News.
Now let's hear from my African news, some African clips. And this is Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré giving his take on the union.
For the release of former President Mohamed Bazoum, you have already issued a statement. Is this an interference in the affairs of the Confederation? Of course it's interference. Niger belongs to the European Union. They haven't left us alone. Have we ever interfered in their affairs? Bazoum is Nigerian. He's not from the European Union. Let them tell us. If he was an agent they placed who isn't Nigerian, who came here on a mission, then they should just tell us. If we're going to return their money, we'll see what we do before giving it back or not. This needs to stop now. People need to stop behaving as if we're still in colonial times. And that's exactly what we're describing, what we're fighting against, alongside many African leaders.
He then turned his attention to the African Union itself, blasting the continental body without hesitation. Traoré stated fearlessly that the African Union is not for Africans and explained how it is controlled. This was one of the most direct criticisms of the AU heard from any sitting African leader in recent years.
And look at us, even the African Union doesn't belong to Africans. They are dictated to. They do whatever they're told to do. If they're told to issue a statement, they do it. Even the African Union building, it wasn't built by Africans. We have no shame. And as long as we keep showing this attitude, they'll keep behaving this way. European Parliament, but take care of the European Union's problem. The people over there aren't suffering. The farmers over there are suffering. We see them, they're beating their farmers in the streets. With strange agreements, they can't even survive anymore. People are committing suicide over there. But take care of your own problems. parties that are impoverishing your people instead of coming here and saying, hey, they won't have Africa's energy anymore. In any case, if it's from here, we'll fight so that there's nothing left here. If you want, you can come and cooperate properly and legitimately. But if it's just to come and take, never. That's it. The battle is over energy. Uranium, oil, even our gold. That's the battle. For a long time you have been looting over there. And now they're left in the dark. You're in the light, you do whatever you want. But just wait. Okay, we're getting ready.
In another startling disclosure, Traoré revealed that he has already survived more than 5 recorded coup attempts aimed at removing him from power. He described the situation with striking candor.
There have been no fewer than 5 different coup attempts against you. Who killed them and why? You counted 5, but there are many more. That's perhaps what has been revealed. Every day there are people who are determined to make sure we are not here. Those who want to see us disappear, those are the ones we call the salon slaves. They are the ones who sell Africa, who do not want Africa to be free. Very often they are Africans, who are alienated and exploited. We are leaders who want to create the conditions so that our young people can work here, instead of going to stay in other people's streets, begging. And very often some end up behaving in ways that are, in any case, not healthy in your societies over there. We do not want to see that. Africans are not subhuman. But in this same context, the countries that colonize us, that want to see us in slavery, that want to keep us there, have their henchmen here, their local lackeys, their representatives. And these people are ready to do anything to see us eliminated. And unfortunately, this is the reality in Africa. And these individuals, every single day that God gives us life, as long as we are alive, they are not happy. And so it's a constant and ongoing struggle. Who are the imperialists? Imperialists, there isn't a single face you can put to them. It's a mentality. It's not a matter of skin color. I just said so a moment ago. European people support us a lot. In fact, many European leaders also support us. I have heard, in particular, one of your leaders who has been sounding the alarm for a long time, who said that the fact that France exploits Africa with its CFA franc, and all of this creates these waves of migration to European countries, especially to Italy. She is absolutely right. That's just how the situation is. So you see, it's in Europe, but not everyone understands things in the same way. So imperialism is when an individual wants to dominate another, wants to keep the other in slavery, who oppresses others. He can be black, he can be white, he can be African, he can be European, he can be American, he can be Asian, he can be of any nationality. But any individual who has this desire to oppress others, to keep others under domination, is an imperialist.
Finally, when questioned about human rights, EU has
a resolution for the release of former President Mohamed Bazoum. You have already issued.
Folks would have just left everybody alone. If white folks would have just left everybody alone and went to Antarctica or Iceland or some crap, Greenland or some crap, to start your own America there, wouldn't nobody care. Don't nobody care if you want to have an all-white America. But leave everybody else alone to have their own too. That's the problem that you seem to completely miss all throughout the current time and in history. Mm-hmm. Nobody gives a damn if you just leave everybody else alone. Do you understand that you are in the middle, you little pale-skinned vampire, you are in the middle of every global conflict there has ever been. Every assassination, every coup, you are in the middle of all of the messy shit all the time. You are at the center of it. When people start investigating, oh, well, I wonder what happened here. I wonder who did this. I wonder how this came to be. Oh, lo and behold, look who's at the center of it, sitting in the damn middle of the room, in the middle of the mess, like a damn mischievous toddler, looking stupid in the face. White folks, specifically white Americans. But I want black people to remember something. White Americans want you to be exactly like them. The reason being, how that started, is because they are Europe's rejects. They didn't just leave. They think that they want you to believe that they just left to start America on this noble trip. No, they were kicked out. They are Europe's rejects. They were removed, thrown out, tossed out from Europe. So they have no place to go but America. So this is why they try to divide you from everybody else in the world. They create negative stereotypes for you. They create negative propaganda for you. They condition and brainwash you into believing the same propaganda. So much so that all the black people now in current time uphold all the negative stereotypes, uphold all of the negativity and bad habits that we have in this community today. We are seeing the result of that historical propaganda play out now, because you got kids that you can't even be positive with. You got adults that you can't even be positive with. And somehow we all sit up here, oh, well, it's the dang kids, these dang YNs, and it's the dang women, it's the dang men. No. You're actively contributing in what they want you to contribute in. Divisiveness. We are living and breathing the long-term effect, the result of brainwashing. But you still thinking it's a conspiracy theory, right? Let's go back to the pale-skinned vampire. We don't care about your sundown towns. We don't care about none of your little racist habits, none of your little racist thoughts. We don't care if you would just leave everybody alone. But you don't know. You seem to think the poor pale-skinned vampire, the poor whites, because they kind of slow in the brain, right? They kind of slow. The poor whites, for whatever reason, believe still that nothing's happening in America. And they believe this because it's not happening to them. That's funny, because during slavery, those same whites, oh, well, it's not so bad. We only essayed 1,000 of your women today. It's not that bad. We only executed 1,000,000 children today. We only essayed 1,000 children today. We only chopped off the foots and castrated 20,000 of your men today. It ain't that bad. Oh, I don't see what the hubbub is about. It's the same thing, just evolved. It's the same thing. We're dealing with the same kind of people. Now they just troll you. Now there is a marketplace for black trauma. There's a marketplace for black outrage. There's a marketplace to keep you triggered. There's profit margin in it. People can post videos on these apps triggering you and make money. Let them have their racism. Let them have their sundown town. Let them have a white country build a black one. Let us have our black sundown towns then. Let us have everything they gonna have. We should have the equal to it. Stop complaining. This is my message to black folks now. Stop complaining about what they doing. Just match their energy.
They are dictated to. They do whatever they're told to do. If they're told to issue a statement, they do it. Even the African Union building, it wasn't built by Africans. We have no shame. This needs to stop now. People need to stop behaving as if we're still in colonial times. And that's exactly what we're describing, what we're fighting against, alongside many African leaders. And look at us, even the African Union doesn't belong to Africans.
Let me just add my little tidbit in here is that, we need to wake up. Everybody here, I'm talking to my black poor folks. You need to wake up and just maybe migrate to Black Wall Street in Africa. Africa is Black Wall Street. You need to wake up, because here you're getting no justice. You've been here too long for this disrespect. You got a lot of disrespect. Wake up. Oh my God. Now look what's coming down the pike. I'm going to next share these business news, this business clip, to help you prepare for the future. But the future should be that you start migrating back to the continent, to Africa, to Mother Africa, and become the United States of Africa. Yeah, Africa, like Kwame Nkrumah say. And create and help build the United States of Africa. All right. Let me let you hear what the future is holding for you here, okay? Because the dollar is gone. Let me let you hear the future. You're looking for jobs for your kids. Let me let you hear what the future is about to hold. Let me let you hear the next business clips, all about the business coming up. Let me just take a listen. Just take a listen. We need to migrate to the United States of Africa. And that's my take on it. All right, let me educate you so you can try to prepare to do your migration. All right, let's listen to what's coming down the pipe on the business side of things. Come on.
I ran into my African American sister who moved down here. So how long have you been in Africa?
The first time I came to Africa was 2012. I went to Kenya. I have a soccer team, a boxing team, and a church. But then when I came to Uganda in 2019, during COVID time, I was able to see talent even more so. So God gave me He brought my dream back that I had when I was a little girl to go and get the street talent and help push them forward. And I seen all the talent in Africa, and God brought that back to my attention that it was never for America, it was for Africa. Yeah.
So what is it like living in Africa and living in America?
Oh man, it's a big difference. As a black woman, I don't get that problem as I can't go here, or they looking at me because I'm black, or this stop because I'm, those stigma. And in Africa, everything is fresh. The food is fresh, the people, they appreciate. When you do something, the value of what you do is more highlighted. There's always something going on. So it's a different world. And, I went to South Africa, and when I went there, I saw, why do I go to Dubai? Because Dubai is man-made.
Yeah.
But South Africa is God-made, yeah.
So what will you say to African Americans who are seeing Africa in different perspectives?
They've been lying to you for years. When you see Africa, you see this little bit of map that's on the globe. It's a lie. Africa has more style, more talent, more people, more everything you got is more of. You think cars or something. You haven't seen nothing yet. And it's the biggest lie they've told you. They show you ghetto. Everybody has ghetto. Everybody has a village. They don't show you the luxury, the big hotels, the big houses. They don't show you the beautiful people. They show you the village where people need to eat, or they starving, or whatever. Even in America, people are going to the trash can to eat. So it's been lying to you for years. You need to come and see for yourself. They used to tell us to eat everything on your plate because people in Africa are starving. They don't even eat leftover food. It's fresh.
It's leftover. In America, if you eat somebody's leftover food, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Your wife can literally divorce you for eating her leftover chicken wings.
I came in 2012 and I can't stop. I done bought my dad, I done bought my children, I done bought my grandchildren, and I'm trying to get dual citizen. That's just how much the Lord has opened up my eyes about Africa. You better hurry up and come, because I think that everybody's trying to get here now.
Yeah, everybody. Africa is home. Come to Africa. And Mama, you are really doing amazing on the life of these children.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving back to the country.
Thank you for being here to come to. Thank you for coming back home and not forgetting where you come from. It's time for Africa.
All right.
American women, primarily the black women, is larger now than back in the 60s. And it says something that they're eating. And of course, it's the fast foods. Jamaica never had fast foods, but now they do. Jamaica, Trinidad, and the women are getting bigger and bigger. Now, even in the UK, in Africa, we notice certain stores, fast foods opening up. And years ago, when I would visit Africa, the women would be slim. Now the fast food restaurants are there, they're getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, what's going on here? It's these preservatives and things that they're putting in the food has a reaction to our bodies, and particularly on women. So this is why we generally try to cook our own food.
Get hate for this, Habibi. But here are 5 things that shocked me while visiting America. Wait until the 5th one, because that one truly made me rethink everything I thought about American people, wallah. First, people in America can get sick and go into debt for it. Not because they were reckless, not because they were irresponsible, just because they needed medical help. And for some reason, Habibi, even though America has so much money, you still need to pay for healthcare. Second, homelessness is everywhere. And I don't mean hidden away somewhere people never see. poverty. I mean tents, people sleeping outside, and human misery literally down this street next to designer stores. Wallah, seeing so much money around homeless people was something I couldn't wrap my head around. Third, a huge part of this country is fat, unhealthy, and exhausted. Right when I got to America, I noticed the food is loaded with garbage. Portions are massive. I rarely see people walking outside, and half the country is stressed and overworked. This is not living, Habibi. This is just surviving. Fourth, Americans are told if you work hard, you will be fine. But wallah, millions of people work full-time and still cannot afford rent, healthcare, or groceries without struggling. I remember going out to try Five Guys, the best burger I've ever had. Yallah. I remember seeing a man outside the restaurant asking strangers for work to help pay his rent. I approached the man and asked him what he did for work. He said he couldn't find a job, so he uses an app called PayMe to make money on the side. But he only makes $500 a month and needed $1,200 for rent. Wallah, for some reason he reminded me of my dad, so I gave him money for 2 months of rent. But it's sad, Habibi, to see some hard-working Americans not being able to live a comfortable life. Fifth, I don't think the American dream exists. Most people are trapped by money, by rent, by debt, trapped by car payments, insurance, medical bills, and jobs they cannot afford to leave. Yallah, this is not a dream, this is a cage. America is one of the richest and most beautiful countries in the world, but still somehow feels like it's broken in so many crucial ways, wallah. I don't know if this is just how life is in California or in the whole US. Comment the state you live in and tell me if it's like this there too. Make sure you...
Wow, yeah, it's true. It's here in Maryland, it's everywhere. We're living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, something has to change, y'all. You gotta start thinking ahead, and these politicians are not making it any better for us. We need to come up with a one independent party, or just, oh boy, I don't know, start making changes, or let's move. I'm going back to Africa. How about that?
Nobody's teaching black content creators a motherfucking thing. And they got a new cyber Jim Crow system set up. They got a new segregated racism set up for the internet world that can't be challenged in court just yet. Because we still so new. They deliberately target you because you're a big platform, and they seeing how much money you're making off me shadow ban. They targeting you and every other major black platform that don't fit the category of a Joe Rogan. Well, it's hard for us to fit the category of a Joe Rogan because all of our subjects in the language and the content is not so advertiser friendly because of our language. So for a whole year or 2 years, I'm saying, man, what's taking so long for YouTube to turn ours yellow? They deliberately picking on us. Well, how they beating us? We're not reading the fine print. So I start reading the fine print. Black content creators, and they do this intentionally, make less than anybody. If you look at the kind of commercials that they put on the black content creators, they pay less. They pay less. They doing this deliberately. Why? We don't understand language and terminology, and we don't understand the algorithm yet. And I'm saying, they got us. We have to do everything right, and then they come up with something new we don't know about to delay it in. So I start watching certain platforms who record me saying the most horrible things in the world, and it's uploaded with commercials on it that day. They be white people. So then the only black person I ever seen do that was Antoine Daniels. But he went and got a program to do it. So I'm saying, nigga, we losing. When I didn't know what I know, I was making $16,000 a month. Never saw 1 million views and didn't even have 100,000 subscribers. Those were the RPMs and CPMs that was high. They didn't know what category to put me in. But because we got a criminal, a rapper, a pimp, the language is killing us. Nobody.
Now, he is so right to say about this algorithm and how they are snatching our money. I'm a musician, and I haven't been paid properly for my streamings of my songs, or on this podcast, like he say about the commercials coming up on my podcast. I'm not getting paid but 10 cents when I see the commercials on my podcast. So he right about that, y'all. I'm telling you now, I'm telling y'all, this is the future. Let me let you hear some more business news. This is the poor people's news that I'm sharing, and you need to share it to your family and friends. We working for nothing. It's going back to the slave mentality where they only paid the slave $1 for working 24 hours. Come on now. We need to wake up. Wake the fuck up.
Music industry. Universal Music just picked the worst possible week to fight Suno, and nobody's talking about why. If you use Suno, you already heard. Universal, the biggest record label in the world, home to Taylor Swift, Drake, Kendrick, hit a wall with Suno. They can't agree on one thing, whether you get to download the songs that you make. Warner Music already said yes, Udio folded. Universal said absolutely not. But here's what nobody's telling you. One day before that news dropped, billionaire Bill Ackman offered $64 billion to buy Universal Music Group. That's a 78% premium. He wants to strip the current chairman, Sir Lucian Grange, the guy running the anti-Suno playbook, and bring in Michael Ovitz. If you don't know that name, Ovitz basically invented modern Hollywood deal-making. You don't hire Ovitz to keep fighting lawsuits. You hire Ovitz to cut checks. And on Ackman's investor call, his own team said out loud, on the record, that AI is going to make Universal's catalog more valuable. Let that land. The same week, Universal Music is telling Suno no downloads. The dude trying to buy Universal is telling Wall Street AI is the upside. That impasse ain't principle, it's posturing. Warner folded, Udio folded, Universal's own investors are circling, and if Universal Music flips, Sony's the last major label on earth still fighting downloads, alone. So don't panic, follow the money, not the press releases. The downloads are coming, and be sure to like, comment, share.
2026 is going to be the last normal year in human history. Let me explain what I mean by this. If you go back just 50 years ago, a father would be able to tell his son, or a mother would be able to tell her daughter exactly how life was going to unfold, exactly what careers they might go into, exactly what degree they might choose. Life was predictable. This isn't the case anymore. Because of multiple technologies which are increasing at an exponential rate, synthetic biology, AI, quantum computing, our world is going through an immense period of change. And this is about to accelerate. So the jobs that once mattered are about to be wiped out. 2 years ago, AI made copywriters irrelevant. This year, it's software engineers. I studied computer engineering. I can tell you everything that I learned in my degree is now useless. Software engineers no longer need to code. AI does that better. What they need to do is to step up to the level of strategy. And so the job market is changing fast, but most people are unprepared. This is what you need to know. Firstly, a ton of white-collar jobs are going to be wiped out. This is just fact. The jobs that are going to stay are going to be jobs that require our hands, our bodies, plumbers, roofers, handymen, electricians. For the first time in history, these people are going to be earning more than doctors, software engineers, and consultants. Things that require the mind, AI is simply going to be able to do it better. And so if you want to adapt, you need to learn how to move up to the level of strategy, of architecture, of design, to be able to connect multiple dots and create something new. And here's the good news. While jobs are going to decrease, entrepreneurship is going to bloom, because new AI technologies are allowing idea to reality to happen lightning fast. You can build complex software in a weekend if you understand how to use Claude Code. The question is, are you prepared to make that shift, or are you going to be locked in the old ways of thinking? There are two qualities that are going to help you survive in this age of AI. Number one, the ability to shake off the rules. And by rules, I mean the bullshit rules of how careers, jobs, and the world is meant to work. Because those rules are being rewritten fast. And number two is pace of growth. What I mean by pace of growth is how much time are you investing every single day?
Hey, black folks, did you hear him? And I'm talking to my kids because, you know, they think I'm old and don't know nothing. And see, this is why I'm grabbing these clips, because you don't want to listen to grandma. You don't want to hear what grandma got to say. Now, please take this man's advice. This is the future, right before your eyes. Like he say, this is the last year of these jobs, 2026. 2027 is going to come in so fast, like lightning. Come on now, get your creative hat on and go into creating your own business. Come on now, find the niche to go into business for yourself. Or, like I say, come migrate to the United States of Africa. The United States of Africa. I'm talking to you black folks. The United States of Africa. Oh yeah, let's migrate. Get the hell up out of here.
The data center has emergency generators to prepare for power outages and other extraordinary situations. As they are for emergency use, the law on air pollution does not apply, and even if noise exceeds the legally permitted criteria, it doesn't immediately lead to an action by authorities. The data center operator told NHK that it did not breach any law and currently conducted inspection runs on weekends and tried to reduce smoke emissions. The municipality is attending the consultations as the two sides continue to seek a settlement.
I think the situation is unbearable. Yes, if I lived nearby and were affected by smoke and noise during daytime, I wouldn't be able to work.
Meanwhile, there are already more than 150 data centers in the greater Tokyo area. And there has also been a series of cases in which local residents called a halt to new construction projects. What these cases have in common is that construction is planned right next to their living areas. In Tokyo's Hino City, there's a plan to build a 72-meter tall data center in a residential area.
住民との話し合いもまだできていません。
In Chiba, a plan to use a former shopping mall parking lot in front of a train station has become an issue. Because the site is close to apartment buildings, residents feel increasingly worried and are campaigning for the plan to be reviewed. Takeda Junichi is one of the resident representatives. He has a number of worries about the project to build a data center right in front of and taller than the apartment building where he lives. But talks with the center operator didn't progress as expected.
I hear they plan to store fuel oil to an amount equivalent to 60 gas stations in front of our apartment as an emergency power source. But when I asked questions about things like how much noise the facility would make and how much heat it would give off, they only said they couldn't answer.
Last December, the resident group called on the business operating the data center and the city, which had approved the project, to attend a meeting to discuss a review of the plan.
本日も説明をいただこうと招待した、こちらの事業者さん、こういった場を設けたにもかかわらず誰一人出席していないということで、まだまだ意見交換というところには至っていないと。
The residents questioned the city mayor, who was present at the meeting, why he had approved the project.
今は説明ないからみんなわかんないままに反対するしかない、そういう状況に置かれてますので、市は許可すべきじゃないと私は思いますが、どうでしょうか。
おっしゃられたいことは非常によくわかります。
The The city has so far accepted the construction of about 30 data centers in locations such as semi-industrial districts. But land for such sites is becoming scarce.
All right. Y'all heard about the data centers going on in Japan, Tokyo, Japan. They're concerned, these data centers, and that's why our utility bills are going up, because they need a lot of electricity. They need all this energy to keep the data centers cooled off. So they got to have these air conditioners, and so they got them backup generators. They were saying this in this clip. I didn't give it. I'm not sharing all the entire clip because it was an hour-long talk show and all discussion about them data centers over there in Tokyo, Japan. They got over 200. They building 70 more, and that's what we are concerned. We need to be concerned. I'm giving y'all poor people's news now. They treat poor people any kind of way. Pull up to the apartment complex and build a data center. Come on now. That gives off all this heat and all this heating, because they need the cooling system, the generator, need to keep the air conditioners to keep this shit cool. This is getting sickening here, and then it's causing smoke, and you can't breathe, and all this kind of stuff you heard there. That's what they're talking about. And cancer causing. Ooh, oh my God, oh my.
Then the construction plan near a living area was proposed. The mayor says he considered calling a halt to the project, but that it was difficult.
The biggest problem is a matter of law. There is no legal definition of a data center in the Building Standard Act of Japan. Under the current law, a data center can essentially be built in a place like that.
Oh, just stop all that. We can change the law. We can rewrite that law. Just stop all that crap. Like we can't make a change in the daggone policy or the law. Just go ahead with that. Come on now. Just stop it.
With what looks like the start of World War III, would you like to know who's actually running the show? Who's actually pulling the strings? Come on, let me show you. So that you can understand what's actually going on in this world. It starts with a fourth dimensional vampiric energy for outside this realm that is communicating with the black nobility. The black nobility, these are the 10 families that sit on the Jesuit Council. The Jesuit Council is headed by Pepe Orsini, and the White Pope and the Black Pope. The three-city state, City of London controls us financially. Vatican City controls us religiously. District of Columbia controls us militarily. These are the 13 front families for the black nobility, the ones we've heard of, the Rothschilds, the Kennedys, the Merovingians, the Onassis. Next come the secret societies, any secret societies that you can think of. After that is the consolidation of the financial assets, BlackRock, China Construction Bank, and Vanguard. After all of this come the heads of state. These people do nothing without being told what to do. This is just a show for the sheeple. Next come the programmers of this world, mainstream news, Hollywood, and the music industry. Finally, the distractions, drugs and alcohol, Major League Sports, and porn. Get yours today. The link is in the bio, so you understand what and how this war is controlling you.
What happens if the dollar breaks? Where do people go?
Well, I mean, they're going to gold. They're going back to their own currencies. They're buying real assets. But the important thing is what happens to America, what happens to our economy, because our economy is predicated on the dollar's reserve status. It doesn't work. If we can't run $1 trillion a year trade deficits, it doesn't work. Because we don't have the factories anymore. We don't have the infrastructure, the supply chains, the trained workers. We rely on the rest of the world to produce what we can't. And because we don't really have any savings, we're all in debt, we rely on the rest of the world to save for us and lend us money. And so when the world doesn't do that anymore, when it's no longer willing to supply us with goods and lend us money, what do we got? How does this economy function? Because you look at who are the biggest employers in America? FedEx, UPS, Walmart, Amazon. Like, what do those companies do? They transport and sell imported goods. But what happens when we can't afford to import the goods anymore? Well, there's nothing to drive around. There's nothing, the shelves are empty. So all those workers lose their jobs at the same time that consumers can't buy anything. You know, we're a service sector economy, but that only works so long as we can outsource to manufacturing. Well, we can't do that if the world doesn't want our dollars anymore. The only way the world's going to trade with us is if we have something to trade other than paper. We'd have to have products. See, the reason that countries export is to import. Your exports pay for your imports. But we're able to import without exporting because people want our dollars. Well, when they don't want our dollars anymore, then we got to make stuff. But you can't just, make stuff the way you print money. Making stuff requires real capital investment. It requires the factories and the infrastructure that we don't have anymore. We had it 100 years ago, 50 years ago. We don't have it anymore. It's gone. And it's going to take a long time to rebuild it. Now, maybe AI and robots, maybe that'll help, I don't know how, what the timeline is there, but we've got a lot of work to do. But we're in for a rude awakening because Trump has got it completely backwards. He says the world's been ripping us off. We've been ripping off the world. We've been living off the world. We've been riding on a global gravy train. They're the ones that have gotten the short end of the stick. And that's why I think that as the world dumps the dollar, there's going to be an economic boom outside the United States. Because I think that we have been a burden that the global economy has been forced to bear, especially a lot of the emerging markets, the BRIC nations. They have borne a lion's share of that burden. And I think when the dollar collapses, this is going to let loose an economic boom, because what's going to happen is all of our purchasing power is transferred to other people. So all the factories that produce all the goods, they keep pumping stuff out. The difference is Americans don't get it. People in other countries get it. Their lives are now better. They have more stuff. They have greater purchasing power. And when the world stops financing our debt, they're not going to stop saving. They're just going to use their savings in their own economies. They're going to invest in expanding their own productive capacity.
What happens if the dollar breaks? Where do people go?
Well,
all right. Poor people, hey, wake up and start preparing.
You can't shut your iPhone off. Oh, I know. It's always listening. It's always pinging towers. It's always pinging Wi-Fi, building a digital breadcrumb trail of where you go and what you do.
Even if I turn the iPhone off, it's not off.
Correct.
Unless you keep your phone in a Faraday bag like this. Faraday bags stop all signal from getting in or out. So when your phone is in a bag like this, it's not giving any signal out or getting any signal to it. It makes it impossible to track you or to hack you or anything like that. So you can't use your phone when it's in a Faraday bag like this, but this is perfect for like an airport or a concert to keep your phone in so you don't get hacked. Or if you wanted to stop sharing your location completely, this is what you would need. A lot of people will keep their key fob in one of these so nobody can steal that frequency and unlock your car. Right now you can get a 4-pack of these bags. The smallest one's perfect for a phone or a key fob. The biggest one you can fit a laptop in. And they're on sale right now, so if you want to get some of these, I'm going to put a link at the bottom of the video.
You can't shut your iPhone off.
No, you can't shut your iPhone off. You can't stop it from tracking you. But what you can do is just get any kind of envelope with a silver and just wrap it up in silver. Just wrap it up in aluminum foil, and then it can't track you. Aluminum foil. Any kind of aluminum or silver lining case, you can use that. Aluminum foil, wrap it into that, and that's why they say you can't get no signal and all. So that's what I would do if you don't want to be tracked.
We don't even realize we've been programmed to see each other as enemies. The real war was never us, it was what was done to us. They taught us to compete for survival instead of building together. Now we fight each other while everything around us gets taken. We celebrate each other's downfall like it's entertainment. That's not natural, that's conditioning. A divided people is the easiest to control. So they made sure we never trust each other. They removed unity and replaced it with ego and pride. Now nobody wants peace, everybody wants to win. We react off pain, not truth, and it turns into violence. Unhealed wounds don't just disappear, they spread. We're killing reflections of ourselves and calling it normal. That's how deep the disconnect really goes. Stop scrolling, click the
exports between 120 and 130 million flower stems annually.
about 20 to 25% of our produce we are throwing away, right? So which is substantial. Why are we throwing away? Because the freight cost is too high. I cannot send to Europe some of the produce, I have a limited capacity. Anything extra that I want to buy, I have to bring in a freighter at a higher cost.
Amid the Iran conflict, growers say heavy reliance on the Middle East airline hubs has left the sector exposed to disruption.
We use Saudi Airlines, we use Emirates, we use Qatar. These are major providers of freight services. So that is having a major impact.
Some are now exploring alternative markets and routes, including direct exports to Asia to reduce future risks.
Chris Mwakala is wearing a robotic suit to practice sign language.
Yes, I think they can help me learn a lot, okay? Especially I've seen that through Zoom, you can be here and somebody teaching from far using robots can be able to explain and type or using the laptop, and you can be able to understand much more better, and you feel that you are happy. Even in school when teachers are using robots, it's a very good experience.
The system was developed by Nairobi-based startup Zero Bionic. It converts spoken words into gestures using an electronically controlled arm. The device is paired with a sensor-fitted suit worn by teachers. They can then record sign movements and feed them into a growing sign language database. Here's teacher Dennis Ayogi.
One of the major challenges that we have is the discrepancies in signs. There is lack of adequate signs that are used to teach learners with hearing impairment. Why? Because our Kenya Sign Language is still growing. It's still limited in terms of STEM jargons.
The robotic arm was built partly from recycled plastics turned into 3D printing filament, mirroring hand shapes and finger positions shown on a classroom screen. It can also be operated remotely, allowing teachers to deliver lessons from other locations, including schools with limited internet access. Developers say more than 500,000 students have taken part in pilots and outreach programs involving the system. The technology is also being tested in Switzerland, while similar projects exist in countries such as France and Vietnam.
For the deaf. This is for the deaf. Robots for the deaf.
Able to look through some of the documents that were found at the Scam Center. Can you tell us what they revealed?
Yes, as we saw in the report, there were guides on how to commit fraud. These came in many languages, including Japanese, Chinese, and English. That tells us that people from around the world were involved in the scams. I was surprised by the thoroughness of the manuals. The strategies they mapped out were very different methods for getting close to targets. Let's start with this document, which describes the characteristic of Japanese people. It says when communicating with a Japanese target, only send short messages. It says Japanese people get stressed when messages are too long. And this manual breaks down a scam into a 7-day timeline. It suggests daily objectives and offers detailed ideas on how to build relationships. This guide is on how to approach people who have already been scammed in the past. It offers 2 templates, one for people who have been scammed within the past 1 to 3 months, and the other for people who have been scammed in the past 3 to 6 months. I also got a look at documents that explain the rules of the organization. Some of these were guidelines on how to manage the operations, but there were also many restrictions governing the lives of the workers. Romantic relationships with other workers were forbidden. Some of the rules were quite specific. The workers were not allowed to talk during regular hours or even cross their legs. Violations led to fines. Our report also mentioned suspected torture rooms for workers who broke rules or weren't successful. I saw handcuffs and chains in other rooms. This gives some indication of the brutal treatment the workers faced.
Now, earlier this month, Cambodian authorities raided scam centers, so countries have been cracking down. But these organizations are still able to continue their operations. How are they so elusive, and what can be done to stop them?
Well, the organizations adapt by changing their locations and the scale of their operations. They used to mostly set up in the border regions of Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos. A UN official researching the groups says they targeted these areas because they could avoid the authorities. But now some are operating in urban centers.
In many cases, the leaders of these groups learn how to commit fraud at large-scale bases in the border areas before moving to urban areas or the capital. From there, they make use of the skills they learned at the major bases and lead smaller, fractured groups.
The organizations are now spreading further across Southeast Asia, including into Indonesia, Vietnam, Timor-Leste, and even the Pacific Island nations. This is making it even more difficult to crack down on their operations. The UN plans to provide high-tech devices to extract data from seized laptops and smartphones to the affected countries. And they are also helping train investigative personnel. I think it's essential for the public and private sector to work together on this issue. For example, social media companies could help in the investigations. But more importantly, the authorities must sound the alarm about the reality of these groups. If more people were aware of the methods of the operations and the treatment of the workers, they wouldn't get involved in the first place.
Wow, scamming. Wow.
At Carnegie Hall, one of the world's most prestigious stages, a new...
All right. So you heard about the scammers. We got to be mindful when we online and on social media about these scammers and all trying to, scam you out your dollar. Okay? I mean, we're lonely. Don't fall for that love and that online dating stuff either. They scamming you everywhere. All right, so let's get into sports and then Donald Trump, the update on this war thing, and then I'm done.
That's the thing about the world. That's why we are at war. We have no understanding with each other. And it's a sad thing. And not having an understanding because not many people want to be in your place. How many people wish they was black? Or want to go through what black people have gone through, and not that back then to this day, to this motherfucking day. See, when I talk about it, they say, you can't think about old situations because it brings old feelings back up. So let me calm myself down. Because people don't understand what we as people go through. So when they got a person like me, a modern day Muhammad Ali, to come to the forefront to protect, to provide, and to educate, it becomes a problem because nobody want to go down memory lane or feel the feeling that we have felt for many years and still feel to this motherfucking day. It's a touchy subject because it's not been long. And when I talk about where y'all people went and grabbed our people from our own land, then it's a problem because nobody really understand that. We ain't bothered nobody. We ain't did nothing to no one. But tried to take care of our own, built our own, had our own. But then somebody come along in our land and want to take our land, trick our people, take our people, and kill them too. It's so much. Nobody wants to get in our shoes and feel what we felt for many years, and then they wonder why we so aggressive, why we so passionate about certain, because I only speak from passion. When I get in this rage, it's passion.
I understand.
Because of the history of what's been done. It can't be erased. It would never be forgotten. And some people would never forgive. But at the end of the day, they use Christianity as a weapon. They try to forgive our neighbors, right? But their history will never be erased. Why? That's why most black people don't even know where they come from. Because we had to take the last name of our slave owners. And then you want to look down on us? We did nothing to anyone. And still, oh man. It's a touchy situation. Because we did nothing. Nothing. But show how powerful we were as human beings, and we're still powerful. That's why they never want us to come together. They hate to see another brother hug another brother and say, I love you, but I do that. And I'll forever do that. They have to kill me. Now, I don't hate anyone. Hatred is a strong dislike. I don't hate anyone. I love all people, but I love my peoples. You understand me? Yeah. Just as any other people should love their people, and we should love all human beings because we are the human race. That's it. To love someone that's free. That's simple to do. You understand me? Until someone do something to you, now you got a reason to hate them, to dislike them, to want to cause harm against them. But if you don't know this person, how can you not like this person or cast stone against this person? Oh, because of the color of their fucking skin? Get out of here. Get real. Get serious.
I agree with you.
Man. Make you want to slap somebody. So I'm going to sip my tea.
That was boxer Deontay Wilder.
Countries have ruled the skies. That's because they could pay for advanced aircraft and crew training. Let's take the United States. It has some of the world's most expensive jets and bombers, and it has deployed a lot of them in Operation Epic Fury, its controversial campaign with Israel against Iran. But taking part for the first time is this. The FLM-136 Lucas, or Low-Cost Uncrewed Combat Aerial System. It's a one-way attack drone, and here it is in action. It's strikingly similar to this, Iran's Shahed drone. Iran has spent years manufacturing and supplying them to allies, including Russia. Both Ukraine and Russia have used drones extensively, changing a conflict dominated by tanks and artillery into one of drone warfare. Now Iran is deploying them at scale, and the US is playing catch-up. Unmanned drones are cheap to produce. One Shahed costs from $20,000 to $50,000, according to estimates by the Center for Strategic and International Studies. One US Patriot interceptor, which tracks and destroys incoming ballistic missiles, costs around $4 million. For that price tag, you can get 115 one-way attack drones at around $35,000 each. The Lucas and Shahed drones share a similar design. Both have an aerodynamic nose cone, 2 fins per wing for maneuverability, and a rear propeller engine to avoid heat detection. In the first week of the war, Tehran fired hundreds of missiles and more than 1,000 drones at Israel and Gulf states allied with Washington. It relied on volume rather than precision, launching many drones at the same time to overwhelm air defenses. It's thought that Iran can produce 10,000 of these drones a month, while the US relies on expensive, highly trained crew for their most powerful attacking aircraft. These drones are piloted remotely. If one is destroyed, the operator is safe and the replacement is a fraction of the cost. So attacking has grown cheap, but the relative cost of air defense has skyrocketed. In July 2025, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the Pentagon to cut red tape and speed up deployment of small military drones like the Lucas. But at the same time, defense systems have lagged behind. Militaries are scrambling to develop more tech to battle these cheap attack drones, from electronic jammers and interceptor drones to high-energy lasers designed to disable targets at the speed of light. Many of these systems promise to drive down the cost of defense, but most are not ready yet. The challenge is whether this counter-drone technology can advance fast enough and cheaply enough to match the pace of drone attacks, or if defense against them will still rely on expensive interceptors.
This is the world's largest urban coffee plantation.
New reports.
military generals had given Donald Trump warning before he even fired the first missile into a school over in Iran that if you attack them, or the chair of the Joint Chiefs said if you attack them, they're probably going to end up closing down the Strait of Hormuz. And if they can't close it down completely, then they're going to attack it with missiles, with bullets, with drones, and with mines. And according to the report, Trump acknowledged the risk, according to people familiar with the internal discussions, but proceeded anyway with what the journal described as the most consequential foreign policy decision of his two presidencies. He told his team that Tehran would likely capitulate before closing the strait, and even if Iran tried, the U.S. military could handle it. So, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, other high-ranking military officials were like, hey, these are all the things that are going to happen, which basically was their way of saying, this is why we've never done something this effing stupid, by the way. It's going to cripple the global economy, man. Like, we can't do that just because we don't want them to have the same toy that we have thousands of. Because that's what this is about. And Trump was like, what are they going to do? They're not going to close it. We got the strongest military in the world. They'll give in to me before they close the Strait of Hormuz. So thank you very much, people with actual intelligence, but I think I know a little bit better than you. And he did it anyway. And now, oopsie-doo, all the bad things that everybody said would happen are happening. In fact, the military leaders are also telling Donald Trump right now that we cannot use U.S. military vessels in the Strait of Hormuz to protect oil tankers. Because what that does is that makes us sitting ducks. If we do that, if we put our soldiers out there, if we do these troops out here, they're targets. They will be attacked. They will be killed. So no, we cannot. Now, if Trump orders them to, it is what it is, but they're telling him, like, we can't do this at all. And so far, it's holding. But also at the same time, with the Strait of Hormuz effectively closed, oil analysts came out just a couple days ago and revised their already dire predictions. They are now predicting that the price of oil could hit $200 per barrel. In doing so, we could end up seeing the largest increase in the price of gasoline on the planet in the shortest amount of time we have ever seen.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Poor people's news, poor people news. Let me share this that I got off of TikTok. But first, let me read that I got from Google about Canada. Come on now. It says the Canadian federal government does not directly own the primary east-west freight rail infrastructure. Instead, it regulates, while private corporations like Canadian National Railway and Canadian Pacific Kansas City own the vast majority of tracks, including the major coast-to-coast cargo corridors. Okay, so I asked AI on this Google. I Googled and asked that question, what about Canada's ownership with the railroad? And that's what they came back with. Let me let you hear.
So the United States just asked Canada for a $573 billion railway bailout. Not offered one, asked for one. The most powerful economy in the history of the world. The nation that has spent 2 years imposing tariffs, trade restrictions, sovereignty violations, and sustained economic coercion on its closest ally, just ask that ally to please restore the freight rail service that American industry depends on to function. Because the North American railway system, it turns out, is Canadian. The trains are Canadian. The tracks are Canadian. The logistics networks that scheduled the movement of American grain, American auto parts, American crude oil, American chemicals, American lumber, and American consumer goods are headquartered in Montreal and Calgary. Two of the 7 Class I railroads in North America, Canadian National Railway and Canadian Pacific Kansas City, are Canadian-owned, Canadian-operated companies that run extensive networks inside the United States on American soil, carrying American freight, connecting American cities. And when Canada redirected its trade away from the United States toward global markets, the railways followed the trade. The trains that used to run south to Chicago and Detroit and Memphis are running east to Halifax and Montreal and west to Vancouver and Prince Rupert, because that's where the demand is now. And American factories can't get parts. American farmers can't ship grain. American refineries can't receive crude. American retailers can't stock shelves. And the estimated cost of the disruption, the backed up freight, the idle production, the rotting grain, the cascading inefficiency spreading through every sector of the American economy is $573 billion over 3 years. And Canada said no. Not just no. Canada announced a $30 billion east-west rail corridor expansion, a massive infrastructure investment that permanently redirects Canadian freight capacity toward global export ports and away from the American border. The bailout was refused. The infrastructure that would have served American industry is being built in a different direction, and every dollar of concrete poured on the east-west corridor is a dollar of capacity that will never return to north-south service. Warren Buffett, who owns BNSF Railway, one of the largest freight carriers in North America, and who has spent 60 years studying the economics of moving goods by rail, said this is the most predictable infrastructure crisis in American history. And then he explained with the authority of someone who doesn't just study railways but owns one, why you cannot wage economic war on the country that owns your rail network and expect the trains to run on time, and why asking for a bailout from the nation you've been coercing isn't a negotiation strategy. It's a confession. But the line that is being called the most humiliating sentence ever directed at an American president by an allied leader, the line Carney delivered when asked whether Canada would consider Trump's railway stabilization proposal, is 9 words that told the United States something no ally has ever had the leverage or the reason to say you don't get to break it, and then ask us to fix it. When you understand how the North American railway system actually works, and who owns it, how the trade war cascaded into a rail logistics collapse that nobody in Washington modeled, what $573 billion of damage looks like on the ground across every major American industry, why Trump asked for a bailout, and what the request reveals what Canada's building instead of restoring service, what Buffett said about the most basic law of transportation economics, and why American farmers and factory workers in swing states are the ones paying the price, you'll understand why this isn't a logistics disruption. It's the moment the most powerful economy on earth discovered it can't move its own goods. Hit subscribe because this railway crisis is about to hit American grocery prices, American factory output, and American farm income simultaneously, and every fix goes through Ottawa.
Well, there you have it. The end of my Poor People's News. Come back. I say come back, leave me a message and come back. Come back next Tuesday. Oh, yeah.